Welcome back to Simright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. So in this class, I'll be teaching you how to make an Edwardian corset, as you can see right here. This is exactly the dress or the corset we are going to learn right now, with a double boning and a caged bust. Okay, so you can see how it's actually looking right here. The Edwardian corset is really trending, and it has to do with having your basques running below. Hello everyone, welcome back to Simright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. So in this class, I'll be showing you how to draft an Edwardian corset. Edwardian corsets are trending. When we talk about Edwardian corsets, we are talking about low waist basque corsets. Okay, like we have in our basque corset. This time around, the basque is not going to start from the waistline, rather it's going to start from the upper hip line. So for that reason, I have my front basic bodice block. This is my front block, and I've made little sketches of my front block right now. I'll be explaining to you what I have right here. This is the shoulder, chest line. This is the bust point line, under bust points. These are the lines you need. You need your waistline, you need your hip line. This is your actual hip line. So another line we'll be needing, which I'll be introducing right here. My hip line is 29, so I'll be placing my tape on that 29. I'm going to mark my knee line. Okay, so it depends on what you are making for this Edwardian gown. If you are making a mermaid gown or a pencil gown, so at your hip, you are going to locate your knee line. This is my actual knee line, and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 inches up and mark my knee line. So on this knee line, okay, I took my bust circumference, my hip circumference plus that intake, and my hip circumference divided by 4. You know how we usually do that. So on the knee line right now, on the hem line, okay, so I'll just take this as my hem line. I'm just making a short dress for this, just to show you how to go about that corset. If you want it a mermaid gown or a pencil gown to the knee, however you want it, the most important thing is to show you how to achieve that basque effect from the upper to the hip to the lower hip. So now on this, I have my hip. I transferred my hip on the waist, on the hip line, that is hip circumference on the hip line, and I transferred it on the hem. That was how I got this straight line. But now if you are making a pencil skirt or a pencil or mermaid gown for it, you are going to go in by either 2 inches or 1.5. So I'll just do 1.5 because I don't really want it too penciled. I'm doing 1.5 at this point. So I'll just go ahead and flip my ruler this way to the hip, as you can see, and I'll still come over to the hem and take off the 1.5. Okay, so I'm taking 1.5 away, and I'm going to rule a straight line. So this is the penciled part of it. So let's go back to the business of this tutorial, which is the Edwardian corset. So now you can see, okay, after the hip, you will come up by 4 inches. So this line I have here, I came up by 4 inches, and it will be serving as my upper hip. So this is where all our basque construction is going to take effect, within here and here. Okay, if it's in the normal basque, it will be from the waist somewhere, you know, but this time around we are having the basque effect from here to here. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to extend my line, my bust span line, to that 4 inches above my hip. And once that is done, I'll quickly complete my dart. As you can see, so my dart is completed, and remember we have our bust dart. So next is to start constructing by taking my shoulder line, divide by 2, and you go ahead and make your bust radius. So from here, I'll rotate my bust radius. My bust radius is different between here and there, and I have 3.5, so I'll keep taking them all around as you can see right here. So once I've completed that process, now I know where my corset is going to sit. So the next thing we want to do right now is to start right away to draft our corset. So I love to draft my corset with my bra cup. So we have a detailed video on how to choose your bra cup on this channel. Okay, so you can just check it out, how to know your bra cup size. So here I'm working with bra cup 40, and I'll be using it to determine my cup. So here you can see how I'm sitting my bra cup. So you need to sit it appropriately as if you want to use it on your dress. So now from here, this is where I have the point of my bra cup. So right there and then I'll take off my bra cup now, and I'm going to measure what I have from here. I'm going to measure our normal 0.5. okay, when drafting your corset, of course you know how to do that. So I'll just go ahead and place it back. You can see how I place it back to that point, and I will use this bra cup to trace out. I'm using it to trace out where my cup is going to sit. So you can see I've traced it out, and I take it off at that point. So next is to come in with your pattern ruler and reconnect, okay, and just make this line rounded. So note that we still have where our bust is going to sit. So the next thing I'm going to do now, since I've gotten half of this, I'm going to connect it directly to the bust point. Now we want to create a yoke, or our cup, where we actually want our cup to sit. So it depends on how you want this to be exposed. At this point you can see I have my bust radius. So I'll just simply do this. I'll mark right there. So since we are making a corset, I mark my bust radius back to this point. So I'll just go ahead and do what? Connect this, running into the armhole. Okay, then I'll bring back my ruler this way, and I'm going to connect it into the corset. So right now we formed our corset. I'm making use of a yoke for this dress. I'll just place my pattern ruler. I'll just come out a little more, say 0.5. That's how I want the yoke to be. So I'll just connect this way. So here is going to serve as my yoke. So it depends on the kind of yoke you want to make for this particular dress. So now we want to jump into the contouring of the over bust. So to contour the over bust, I'll just go ahead and take from here 0.75, here 0.75, and I'm going to connect. Okay, I'm connecting it to the bust point. I'll flip my ruler this way and connect as well. Our under bust need to be contoured. So usually from the center front line, you'll be taking your under bust measurement divided by 4. Okay, this is under bust measurement divided by 4, and from here to here I have 1.5 left here. So I'll divide 1.5 by 2. So whatever you have left, my dart intake is 1.5. Please take note of that. So if you have taken your dart intake and connected to your bust point, from your under bust, whatever you have left, okay, I will divide it by 2. I have 1.5 and I divided it by 2, and I have from this dart leg 0.75. that is 3/4, and from here another 3/4. So once I've done that, I'll come in with my pattern ruler right now. You can see how my pattern ruler is placed. I'll go into the corset this way. I'll flip it this way once again and go into my corset, as you can see. So now once I've gotten that point, I'm going to rule my line to where my dart stopped, this way and that way. Okay, so I'm going to reconnect what I have on this dart, our cup shape. So I'll just come in this way. So I have it on this dart. Can you see that? So I'll just come a little more this way. Okay, so we'll be able to get our cup shape effectively. So now we want to create the Edwardian corset basque, which is the main purpose of this tutorial. So to create this Edwardian corset right now, like I said, from your hip you go up by 4 inches. So these 4 inches, I'll just blend my ruler this way. Like I said, Edwardian corset is trending, but this particular corset right now is a back on the upper hip and on the hip line. So on these 4 inches, I want to go up by 1 inch once again. So from that 1 inch, I'm going to connect. Can you see? So I'm connecting. You can see how I placed my ruler to form that basque effect. So the whole of this is going to be my skirt piece, while what I have here is going to be my upper piece. So the center that I'm going to extend it this way, okay, and that is how we are going to cut off this corset. So now I replace my dart of 1.5. Note that you need to replace your dart before you cut. So I'm going to cut my pattern right now. So right now I've closed up my bust dart and I'm cutting off my darts. You can also reblend the part of the cup as well, as you can see right here now. So I noticed a little shortage as I matched up the chest line of the cup right now, and I'm reblending it as you can see. So I'll quickly cut it off, and now we want to move over to the back pattern. Moving over to the back pattern. So this is the back pattern for the corset. So this is our shoulder line. So I want you to pay attention to how this back pattern is drafted, okay, because that is actually the main purpose of this class. So from the shoulder line, I measured my chest, which is the same with the front, but note that we are using the bust dart technique. So since we are using the bust dart technique, your back length will definitely be shorter. So mine is shorter by 2 inches. So my front length was 17. I counted 2 inches and I have 15. Okay, so 4 inches above my hip line was 24. I counted 2 to have for the back 22. My hip was 29 and I counted 2 inches to have my hip for the back. And my full length is the length of this paper, and I counted 2 inches above. So for the back, you'll be shortening by 2 inches because we are using the bust dart technique. So now this is my back line. Okay, so this back line, I'll come up by 1 inch on the upper hip, and I'm going to connect my Edwardian basque. Okay, my Edwardian basque corset, I'm going to connect it this way. So now it depends on how you want the shape to look like at the back. You can still twist your pattern ruler however you wish to twist it. Okay, so once I've twisted it that way, I have the shape of my Edwardian corset at the back. So the next thing we want to talk about is the contour line. We need to do that. This is my waistline. So I'll just go in by 0.75 from the center back to contour my back. So I'll place my ruler this way and I'll place it this way to the hip line. Okay, so if we are putting a zipper now, the zipper is going to run through here. So please take note, you have to replace everything. I'm working dartless for this Edwardian back. We don't have any dart for it. So I've contoured and I'm taking my bust circumference divided by 4. I'll mark my waist circumference divided by 4. I'll also mark it, and this is my upper hip. Okay, so I'm not going to touch my upper hip. So I'll just go ahead and reconnect. So what I'm doing here is replacing the contour line. So my contour line is replaced right now. So I'll bring it back to this line. So if you note, you can see the differences. We have them accordingly. So what I replaced here is 0.75, and here is also 0.75, as you can see. So now I can go ahead and do what? Connect or extend my my basque. Okay, so I'll just extend my basque to that point. So we are done with this dress right now. So we want to create the loops, the corset back. So the corset back now depends on how deep you want your corset back to be. So I just want to take from the waistline. I want to come down by 4 inches from the waistline. That is where the corset back will start for this Edwardian corset. So my zipper is going to run all the way to this, from this point to this point. You can still come below, let's say maybe 5 inches. So let me just do okay, let me do 5.5 for this. So you can just choose what you want to do for that. I really need the loops as long as possible. So now the next thing we want to do now, from the chest line, I'll come in for the back contour line. I'll just for the corset back, I'll just come in by, let me say, 3 inches. So once we open, we'll have about 6 inches, or you can do 7 inches. So once you open, you have, so let me do 3.5, so that once we open, we'll be having 7 inches, and it's okay. So from that 7 inches, I'm going to connect to the 5.5 I stepped down from the waistline. So we are going to have our loops here. Okay, so if you are making use of loops, you are making use of eyelets, whatever you are going to make use of, this is it for you. And your zipper runs this way. So next is to come in by 0.5. Remember, we went in by 0.5 and we connected. So your back, you can connect your back any way, any shape you wish to connect. So I'll just connect following this shape I have. So this is what I'm going to have on my back corset as my yoke. So we are done with this drafting. So next we want to do now is to cut this pattern. We are going to cut a beautiful Edwardian pattern right now. I just want to explain to you what I did on the knee line. Okay, so remember that the knee line has to step up 2 inches for the back because of the bust dart technique. So I took 1.5 on the knee line for the front, but once you come to the back, you divide that 1.5 by 2. So for me, I have 0.75. I go in by 0.75 from here to here, 0.75 from here to here. I extended it 0.75 and drew a straight line for it. Okay, so since you are making a pencil skirt, you need to give that shape. So now I'm going to cut what I have on this pattern right now, since we are done drafting our corset. So you can see the shape of the corset is already here, the corset back is already here. So I'll quickly cut right now. So for this yoke part right now, I'll just keep my ruler from this angle and connect to this angle, so we'll be able to have our yoke. So I'll proceed with the cutting now. Now I'm done cutting out. Okay, so this is what I have for the back. So now I want to bring back this because it's going, the cups are ready, as you can see right there, and I've cut out all my patterns and my yoke. I've cut everything, and I added 0.5 inch in between the yoke lines and 2 inches on the seam lines to sew them together. So I'm taking off my pins, as you can see right here. And once I take off my pins, I'm going to sew the patterns together, the fabric together. You can see I cut on fold. Now I'm done sewing. This is what I have for lining and for fabric, as you can see right there. So the next thing we will be doing now is to start sewing our yoke, our boning channels. You can see the regling boning and the nylon boning. We are going to use it for our double boning. So I'll sew my regling right now on the lines. So I'm going to sew on both seam lines, and then I'll go ahead to insert my nylon boning. So I'm done sewing and I've marked out the other lines as well. So I'm going to sew all on that lines, as you can see right there, and give it a good press. Now for the back, I'm also going to do the same. So mark out my linings and make a notch at this point. That is where the zipper will end and the loops will continue. So I'm done doing that. So now I gave 0.75 inch away, 1.5 inch away from that line to sew my bonings. So now I'm assembling all my patterns back and front, and it's time to insert my nylon boning. My nylon boning is 0.7 mm by width, 0.7 mm by width, and my regime boning is 0.5. Okay, so my nylon boning is 7 mm, I mean 7 mm. So now I've filed it and I'm inserting it right now. That is a double boning method technique, which makes your corset more rigid and strong. So I've inserted it right now after giving it a good press, and I'm cutting off the excess, as you can see. So I'll keep inserting on all the lines I stitch my regline, as you can see right there. So I'll keep inserting them, turning them upwards while inserting. Please turn them upwards, as you can see, so it will be easy for you to insert right away. Okay, so I'll keep inserting and inserting till I'm done with all the nylon bonings, passing through the regline boning, which is the double boning technique. Okay, so now I'm still inserting, I'm still on the process of inserting, and I'm done. This is the back. You can see the notches where the zipper is going to be sewn. The zipper is actually supposed to be sewn at 1 inch, but I mistakenly cut half an inch, but that is okay. So now the cups are ready, and I have my stay for the caging of my corset cup. Okay, I have a detailed video on how to have a proper bust cage on this channel. You can also check it out. So now I mark my lines, as you can see, on the upper part to identify the upper part of the cup, so it will be easy for me to sew, and I made notches on the bust point as well. So I'll take off my pins, put the cups together, cup 1, cup 2, to form my corset cup. So here I have about 8 pieces for each, because I will use the stay part to place on top of the lining part, so it will be easy for me to construct my bust caging. So I'm placing them. I'm going to stick it with my iron right now. So once I stick it, I'm going to sew. So I'm done sewing, as you can see. So these are the pieces, and for the bust cage part, I'm going to trim. I'm trimming the seam allowances, so it will be able for me, easy for me to cage appropriately. So when trimming, please be careful you don't trim off so much on that part. So I'm done with that. So the next thing is to start marking out. So but I'll first of all trim off the edges, then mark out on the bust points. I'm going to mark my lines, but before I do that, I'm taking 0.5 inch, 0.5 inch all around, 0.5 inch all around, all around, all around. So I'll just take it all around. Once I'm done on the bust point, I'm going to mark to that point. I'll divide the lines and mark them like a draft or a basket. So this is it, and that is where I'm going to sew my bust cage. So right now I'll just jump into my sewing of the bust cage. So now I'm sewing, starting from the edge you are seeing right there, sewing the outer piece of my regline boning on the bust cage. So I'll keep sewing like that till I get to the other end. So once I get to that end, I'll stop. I'll start another one at the outer edge. I'll keep sewing till I complete the outer part and back stitch. So once I back stitch, the next thing I'll start to do now is to sew in between the lines, on the vertical lines first. I'll raise up my boning and place the other vertical one, cut it off and also insert it. So once I get there, I'll cut off and insert. Okay, I'll raise it up and insert. So I'm raising it up now, so I'll be able to put it under that other one. Then I'll complete the sewing for this one. So I'll keep sewing till I complete all the drafts, as you can see. Okay, so that is it. So the basket process is a very good process and is very wonderful for sewing corsets, especially using the fleshing technique. So this fleshing technique I'll be also teaching you right here once I'm done caging my regling right now. So I'm done with the vertical lines, so I will start again for the horizontal part of it. So this is the horizontal part of it, and right there you can see I'm sewing them down.